Hi, fifth graders. We're learning about radial symmetry today. Radial symmetry, or balance, is a type of balance in which the parts of an object or picture are regularly arranged and radiate from a central point. It appears both in natural and in human-made objects. First, let's take a look at some of the examples of radial symmetry in nature. Now I want you to take a look at some of the examples of radial symmetry in artwork. Today, we're going to do a project with radial symmetry and our names. All right, to begin with, let's get out your brown piece of paper to protect your work surface and your white and black piece of paper. I think it's the only one left in there, and a pencil. I also need you to get out a piece of normal copy paper. If you don't have copy paper, then maybe get a piece of lined paper that is thin. You will also need a pair of scissors. To begin with, I want to take the piece of copy paper and I want you to fold it diagonally so that there's a little rectangle made at the bottom. And I need you to pinch along that fold. Okay, now we're going to cut off that extra rectangle at the bottom with your scissors. Go ahead and get your scissors out and follow along that line and cut off the little rectangle at the bottom. So you're left with just a triangle now. But when you open it up, it is a square, just like the piece of paper that is on your black piece of paper. It's also very important, make sure that this piece that you make is the exact same size as the one that came in your art toolkit. Okay, now you're going to go ahead and fold it again diagonally and make sure you press those folds really well so that they are well-made folds. And then you're going to fold it again one more time. Again, press and pinch so that the folds are very defined. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing with the piece of paper that came in your art toolkit. First, fold it in half diagonally, match up the corners, and make sure that you pinch along that fold. Okay, now we'll fold it in half again, match up the corners, and pinch to define the fold. Okay, one more time, fold it in half again, match up the corners, and pinch to define the fold. Okay, at this point you should have two identical triangular folded pieces. Put the one down that came with the art kit, and then open up the one that you made originally that you had to cut the rectangle piece off. And now I'd like you to take your scissors and cut out one of the triangles that were made as you folded. This will be a template for the rest of your project. Okay, I'd like you to get out your pencils, and from point to point, I would like you to write in bubble letters your first name. I'm going to go ahead and start on the left, but if you want, you can find the middle of your name and start in the middle of the triangle if that's easiest for you. Whatever works best. Make sure that you stretch the letters all the way to spread it out over the whole triangle, please. Now I need to get out your black permanent marker and go over those lines that you made of your name on both sides of the triangle. So on the front, and then you will flip it over and do the same on the back so that you have nice dark lines that we'll use for your actual project. All right, now I'd like you to unfold your original piece, your square piece, and you're going to try to match up the template on the back side so you can see through, and you're going to use it to help you trace your block letter name into each of the triangles, just like I am showing you. You might need to pick it up to see through it. Sometimes if you're having a hard time seeing through it, you could also put it up against a window to be able to let the light shine through it a bit more. Hopefully the black Sharpie marker shows through enough so that you can see through it onto your actual piece of art. Okay, the next step is to flip over and make it fit into this triangle that's next to it. And then you're going to do the exact same thing and trace your name into that triangle. Notice how the bottom of the letters match up. You want to be aware of that so that you can make sure that you're connecting things in the right way. Okay, and then we just flip it back right side up and do it, trace it into the next triangle, and you're going to do that around the whole paper. So you'll flip it on the forward side and the backward side until it looks something like this. Now you have to think about what you're going to color it with. You have colored pencils in your art toolkit. You also have oil pastels. So decide on which medium you want to use. We're going to be trying to achieve radial symmetry, not just in the shapes of the names, but also in the colors. Notice how all of the A's in this picture are all red, and the S's are all red, and all the O's are all red. So you want to reflect the same colors throughout this project as well. So I'd like you to choose between the oil pastels or the colored pencils for your project. If you're not really sure which you want to use, here's some ideas. The oil pastels will be slightly more messy, obviously. If you want, you can test it out on your template and see maybe what some of them look like as you decide for yourself if you want to use the oil pastels or if you want to use the colored pencils. If you do use the colored pencils, you will be outlining the letters with your black Sharpie marker. See here, I'm testing out some of the colored pencils. If you use the oil pastels, you will not be using the black Sharpie marker in the end. You will be using a black oil pastel in the end. So it's your decision. Like I said, test it out on the template. Decide which medium you'd rather work with for your project, and then let's get started coloring. I selected oil pastels because I feel like I liked the selection of colors, and I feel like it goes a little bit quicker, but I just like oil pastels a lot. So there's nothing wrong or right about whichever medium you choose. Just make sure you choose a color scheme as you apply the color to the various letters of your name and the shapes that are formed from those letters. If you need to and you're using oil pastels, you might use that extra piece of paper to help keep your hands clean or keep you from smudging. Other ideas, just choose a color scheme and stick with it. And remember, whatever color you're making, I'm going to use the letters in my name so you understand. Whatever color I'm using for the T, I'm going to use for the T throughout this assignment. Whatever color I use for my A, I will use for all of the A's, and so on and so forth. Have fun being creative. Do not use the black until the very, very end. And I can't wait to see what you create. Then when you're done, if you use oil pastel, try to get the shavings off and get the other shavings into the trash. Okay, now if you're using colored pencils, you're not going to need to do this with a black oil pastel, but if you're using colored pencils, you'll use the black Sharpie marker. Since I'm using oil pastel, I will use the black oil pastel. And I'm going to outline every single line that I have in this, and I want to use the up close tip so that it can try to be accurate. Okay, go wash your hands, and then you're going to get the background piece of paper, and you're going to write your full name and teacher on the back of the black piece of mounting paper, and then you will flip it back over. Now take a look at about where you will mount it in the middle and get out your glue stick, and I want you to go ahead and apply the glue to the black paper, trying to keep in mind where it was when you will mount it. And then fill it all in with glue. Make sure there's enough glue on there so that it sticks all the way. And then you will lay your piece of artwork on the top. Now, if you used oil pastel like me, you may want to take that extra piece of paper and press down using that in between your hands and your actual art piece so that you don't smudge it. But you're able to push down on to try to make the glue stick. So use whatever extra pieces of paper that you can to help protect your art piece. And that's it. I hope you had fun making your Kaleidoscope name today and learning radial symmetry. Great job. Okay, it's time to clean up. So get your extra pieces, your template, go ahead and throw them in the trash. You will not need your brown piece of paper anymore. It's the end of the school year. You can put away your oil pastels, back into your art toolkit, put your colored pencils back into the bag, zip it up tight. I'd like you to make sure you get all of the art supplies back into your art toolkit. Additionally, please make sure that your art supplies, everything gets put back in the largest plastic bag, the one that says 5th grade on the outside of it. Make sure everything gets put back inside and get it to your teacher, and your teacher will put it back in the MIA room. Thank you. Just in case you didn't hear me before, you can throw away your brown waxy desk protector. That's it for this year. Thank you for a wonderful, fun art year. I wish you luck in the future.